So guys, you can put the rest of these bits on first before we do the motherboard. And one thing I noticed is that this power switch I got, I didn't realise that the footprint, all the pins are the same size, and the mounting pins on the either corner, on the opposite corners, which are just to hold the steel down to the board so it doesn't move, the holes are all the same. For some reason, the footprint holes are too small. So, I mean, it's just the very tips I just had to snip off. But the rest of the switch fits on there fine. Yeah, the ones I just had to snip these very, very tiny ends off the feet. And it goes in there. But the holes that need to be made a little bit bigger. So I will actually do that in the Gerbers and make the holes twice the size they are, so that these little pins will actually go through them. They should have been about the size of these for the keyboard connector, but they're not. They're tiny holes. If they're the size of the keyboard connector, they would have been fine. So that's just something I need to do and upload later. You can get around it by snipping those pins off. I mean, it's something you'll come across. I mean, other than that, the switch works fine sitting there. And then, of course, the keyboard connector, that fits fine. Sits in there. And then, because then that's the power connector which goes on here. And as I said, I made it long enough so you could move it to where you wanted it. And if you wanted to, you could solder wires onto here and then poke them through the holes, tag them from the other side, because these are all through-holed. And some nice heavy solid wire to go down through here. Just mains, again, mains rated, or stranded mains rated, whichever one you want. You can tin it up, poke it through and around, wrap it around, and then solder the whole thing up. So, but I want to make sure I get this in the right place first. So I will do that in the machine when I put it up on here. I won't attach this one. Those two I will put on. So those will be the next two I think I'll put on. They all look good. Right, now I've just got to sort out this power connector. And I can move that out the way. These little bits of metal out of my way. And as I say, you could probably use anything for that. But I was just thinking, I actually have those brass connectors. I'm pretty sure I've got some very thin ones that I could probably use. Yeah, I don't know if they're thin enough to go through the holes, but then about these, I'm just, oh bugger, they're a little bit. Oh, we might be able to squeeze them in. And we could flatten these down, put these in, and then we can move them to where we want and solder them in. The other thing is we could use a heavy piece of wire. We can find some mains wire. That's the, as I was telling you on the earlier one when I was talking about the yellow and green, that's the new colour coding now. It has the yellow and green in it. And that's why I say, you know, that's why I used that that analogy, is that has green in it, so that's your earth. It's not something nice and heavy, guys. It's just I might have to go out into the shed, and I've got some very heavy 4 and 6 mil cable out in the shed, and I wondered something like that would be heavy enough to do it. I suppose this would be fine. It's only going a short distance, so if we go into that and we just make it all solid, and then we can solder these on to either side, and then work it where we want it when we've got it in. And then touch it on, and we could also leave it a little bit so we can move it and then hot glue it in the place we want. That would be another idea. So I might do it that way. It's a pity these are a little bit big. Well, they would have done the same sort of thing. We could have used those. So. But never mind, I think this might do what we want. And being, if we solder the whole thing, it's going to be quite rigid. So I think it might do a good thing that we want. But that's one thing you need to keep on hand too, is you want about 2 or 3 different thicknesses of solder. Like this is the very, very fine stuff I've got. This is 0.05, and then that sort of my general size stuff, it's that one. You can see the differences in them. And that's a sort of an in-betweener. And this is the one I was running out of, and that's sort of an in-betweener to the little one and the bigger one. But I do also have a lot heavier one than this. And that's a lot bigger than that one. But you can buy them in these reels on AliExpress and places like that. And you really do want a few different sizes, because you'll find there's work that needs quite a lot of solder fairly fast, and the small stuff you just chew through it too quick. The other thing you could probably use if you had any pins, solderable pins, you used to be able to get them, they used to call them Vero pins, but I think they'll be a little bit thin. I think you're better off doing something like this, just because of the mains going through. I just think something like this will be a better option to use. Right, as I said, that just gives me the 2 pins then, and then what I can do is just drop those down in the holes without burning myself while they're still warm. So that's where I want it, but I want it further back. So those need to be shorter. So I was wondering, maybe I should just desolder all this, and I'll put the wire from the bottom up and then through the holes, and then I can jostle it around where I want it and glue it, and then solder it in, I think. Because other than that, I'll be fighting with it all day trying to get it to work out where I wanted it. I think that, because I mean that's about how low I want it. I want it that far down, but it's got to come back. So it's got to come back to there. Probably could use this as a wire too if you want to, but I think it's a bit thin. And what we'll do is I will solder these in here, the solid wires, and then what I'll do is I'll just poke them through these holes, and then I can move it around to where I want it, and then once it's at that point, then solder them up and then snip them off. I think that would be probably an easier way of doing it than the other way. So that just means now that when I use the connector, wherever I'll put that, so it just means that with the connector, that when I get it here to where I want it, then I can solder these up and they'll be all ready to go. And then I can get that, yeah, that's going to be a lot better like that. I can push that over if need be, so these can come sideways. Yep. Yep, so that's cool. So I can go either way with that. Cool. That'll work. That'll do what I want. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, now I can move the barrel. Cool. Right, so now I will get the Dragon32. We'll move that out of the way. And this is, I'm just doing a dry fit to see where this is going to fit in the back for the power connector to go through. That'll go there. That'll go there. So what I might do is I might drop the 2 screws in. I'll move these out of the way. I'll drop the 2 screws into the board to hold it in place, I think, and then I can get a really good idea about where that other one's going. Because we're only using 2 of these. Not the best quality screws they use in there. They haven't got very good heads on them. But never mind. So that's cool. Yep, that works fine. That lines up fine. And then this. That there. Yeah, I think that's not too bad. It's probably a little low. It'll probably come up a fraction. But yeah, it's probably just come up a fraction. It'll probably come up when you solder it up. But that looks pretty good. Might want to come left a little bit more. I might want to go left a fraction. Maybe a fraction more. So as I need a pair of fine pliers. I did have some here, and I'm just trying to remember where I put them. They'd make life a little bit easier. And yeah, that's pretty much in the middle. As I say, it just needs to come up a fraction. It's just a wee bit low on the board, so if that came up about there, and I think some double-sided tape on the bottom of that would bring it up to the right height. Which one we got? We'll use that one, I think, and if we go on to that, I think that'll bring it up high enough. It doesn't need to be a huge piece. Because the other thing will be is I've probably got flux all over this and it doesn't want to stick. We can stick it to the board and it'll just rest on that then. That'd be the other way to do it. Take it down to here. Check where we want you. About there. And push it down. Yeah, that makes it about spot on where it is now. So good. And so what the other thing we could probably do is just to bend these so they come up and over the top to hold it in place. So probably not too tight so it doesn't push it down too much. And I still think probably a little bit of hot glue wouldn't go on this either. That would be okay, I'd say. And I'd say just dribble of hot glue down the sides to make it all stay in one place would be the other thing to do. So I think with that there, I think solder those. And with those being soldered, then I can snip the ends off them. And we'll be good to go. And we can do the motherboard. Then we can take this one out and put the other one in. Or we could just try it and see how it sits in there. And I mean, it's just something we can take off later on. Yeah, no, you need to come forward a bit more. Right, that looks like it's about right to me. videos there. Yep, that does us good. Now, the other thing I have to remember is where I put my figure 8 power connector. I'll have one kicking around here somewhere. A lot of gear used to use it. Printers, video players, DVD players, all that sort of stuff. Some laptop leads were the 2-pin figure of 8. So anyway, but as I said, this can go on here as it is. So that will go on to. I'm just going to try and make sure I get the pins lined up right. That one goes on to there. So I mean that will fit on it, but I'm going to come across one to there. That's it. Yeah, those two aren't used. So I mean that will sit on it, but it just doesn't look right. It sits miles up in the air for a start. So I really think that I mean I could try it with that, I suppose. See how we go. Probably doesn't look too bad. Oh, we'll try it and see. But take that off there, and I have to get the rubber feet for this to go down this end too, to lift it up a little bit. And they come across, and we have our phase now neutral. So I'll get the rubber feet out. I want to check the voltages on here before I put them into the board, because some of these units I've gotten in the past and the voltages were meant to be set, plug them in and they were totally the wrong voltage. So I don't want to kill anything on this board. So I will do that first. Straighten that one up. And as I said, how this is going to sit in here, you can actually see it sits in here really nicely. And there's enough room between this. This has a plastic cover over it, so nothing's going to get shorted on here. And it's like the rubber feet on this, just lift this up enough, square it up and lift it up enough to keep it up off the board and that. And I worked it out as about 14 mil. It needs to be up. So I've got those rubber insulators, and I'll just put those on the bottom and raise it up. I will dig those out, and we'll go from there. I'll find the power cable at the same time too. Okay guys, so I'm back now. So I've got the AV plug, the power plug, and as I was saying, this is the figure 8 that I was talking about, and they don't have an F, they're just phase and neutral, or live and neutral. These are the little self-adhesive rubber feet. You buy them from the hardware store. We get them from Bunnings. They come in a big sheet. Now you can get these are the rubbery ones, and you can also get the felt ones. Don't get the felt ones, because what you do is you build these up to the height you want. And as I'll show you underneath, that's what I've done here. So I've got 3 on these sides, and these sides are along here. So there's no mounts or anything here. The mount is back here and over here. And that brought it up and made it lie on an angle going down towards this. So I've just put a little bit where it touches the board and not down the back here. And so that makes that sit really, really nice in here. And it's below the top. Just got to get that sitting in there. Well, I hit it in the wrong place and it was hitting the mount. That's better. So that's now sitting in there, and it's probably about 5 mil below the lip of the. It's probably about 5 mil below the lip of this edge here. So that's really, really good, and the top will sit on that. I mean, it's going to move around, but the feet will stop it sliding. I suppose if we were really, really wanted to, we could probably just dab a hot glue on the corners to lock it in place. But I think if this is going to sit on your desk or be put away, it's not going to be worried. Everything's insulated, so nothing's going to short. I think we'll be fine. If we want to, we can do that. We can actually make a hot glue onto the shroud here, and on the side here onto the case. I'm not going to worry. So what I've got now, we've got that done. So what we need to do is power this up, and once we power this up, then we want to find out what voltages we get. Yeah, and that fits in there really nice. I'll just show you. Oh, let's move these out the way, and I'll just show you. So as you can see, that sits in there really nice, and I've not modded it. I've popped the little black connector off the old original one here. I've just popped the little black connector off here. They're the same size, and I just popped it on there. Okay, and there. So then what we can do is we can plug this in, turn it on, and I want to check these voltages. And power that on. Our meter down here. Pop the covers off. Right, now which one is our ground? Our ground is that one. Ground, and that should be our first voltage. And so what we'll do, we'll power this on and turn this on. So that's our 5 volts. That's sitting at 4.97. That's not bad. That's our 12 volts. That's a little low. And that's our -5. So they are all a fraction low, so we could probably tweak those up a wee bit. And I'll just need to put my eyes on to do that, guys, so I can see what I'm doing. I don't have a plastic screwdriver for adjusting this, so I've got to be a little bit careful where I'm poking things. There we have 5. Back down a fraction. 5.03. 11.6. That's -5.9. Yeah, almost -5 volts. That's not too bad. That's not bad. That should be close enough. 11.6. So long as we're not over voltaging it, that is the thing. Don't want to run too much voltage down into it. So that's all good. And as you can see, that has a power indicator on it too, which tells you when the power is going. So that's all good. So now what we can do is put these into here. So what I'll do, I'll clip this off. So we don't want all of that. And then I can put that little bit on there if I want to. Yeah, I might as well make that tidy, eh? Turn the power off to the bench. While I'm playing around here by these connectors. I do not want to be doing the happy dance right at this stage. Okay, put that onto there, on there. Make sure these are down tight. Right, so that was 5 volts. It goes into there. So there's our 5 volt rail. And it looks like the quality control police have just walked in. That was our common. And it was our 12 volts. What's next? And that was our -5. So I just want to double check that, so I might pop that header off the board just to make sure I've got those on the right way around. The first two I have, it's just the second two I want to make double sure. I'll pop this off for now. And I'll power this on just to see if I got my voltages the right way around. Okay, that's on. So we go ground, and we should have ground and 5 volts. Yep. 12 volts. Yep. And -5 volts. Yep. Yep. Those should all be fine. All right. Now that 12 volts may come up once the load goes onto it as well. I'll turn you off. Right, that goes down there. Plug you in. No, wrong one. Yeah, this is the... Yep, make sure I get that right. I'll just do it. That one goes on there. So if I'm going to leave this old one on here, I may clip this end one off because that just throws you out when you go to plug it in, and it's... you're not going on this very end one. I'm putting the empty one on that. So I might just clip that off later on, I think. Or I might do it now. Just clip that one off because it's just throwing me off. So I think we'll go down through there. I'll do that. Do that. There you go. And that just tidies it up so it's at the right pin for pin 1 and all the rest of it. So whoever gets this later on won't, if they ever have to open it up, won't get mucked up. That's better. That lines it up better. So, and I might also put it with this old power supply. I'll put a bag with a couple of crimp connectors. I might even crimp up a couple of cables and put them in a bag, put them with this stuff. Someone wants to add them later on, they can add it in. They can always take this off. But I mean, as I say, this is very rusted, so I don't know. And as I said, that wasn't soldered on very well. God knows what that was doing. Not a lot by the looks of it. So those look nice with a bit of cable tie management on them. That one's fine because that just goes straight across. Yeah, so that all looks good. What I will do now is we just need to do up this. So I just need to get a AV lead and put our audio and our video onto them and have it so we can plug into this, into the Commodore monitor. Alright guys, so I haven't found any shielded cable, but I've got a couple of, it's only going to be short. So I've got some strands. So I'm putting, we need an earth to the audio and an earth to the video. So I've got a brown and a green cable. So I've got them clipped in here, I've got them twisted. They're going to be my earths. So the brown and the green. So I'm going to use those as my earths. Because they break out to 2 RCAs, I need 2 cables. So that's what they're going to be. And then I'm going to use white as my audio and the yellow as my video. And what I'm going to do is, I'm just making this up so I can test it. So I'll just be clipping some leads on the ends to the AV connector to make sure that it works. I'm not going to worry about putting plugs on it at the moment. I'd rather do that when I get some proper shielded cable. I thought that would happen. Problem is these are such a small connector on these keyboard style connectors, and trying to get these wires, because these wires are a lot bigger, and to try and get these wires on here with more than one is a bit of a mission. So tin that first and then solder that on. So right, that's that one. And then the next two are not connected, so that's alright, so it doesn't matter if it bridges onto one of those. And then the way that goes in upside down, so it actually plugs on that way up. So the left hand one is video and the right hand one at the top here, the top 2 pins. The left hand side here is video and that is audio. So it's going to make the yellow one is going to be my video. I need to trim that because it's miles too long. So the top one is the video. So what I need to do is to move this around so I can see that where it is, and heat that up and put some solder in there. And we'll stick the video on that one. It is easier having a helping hand, but the other problem you got is trying to video and do it at the same time so that you guys can see what I'm doing, and soldering the wires on is a different thing. Cool. That's the video, and then the white one is the audio. turn that up and then put a little bit in. On this one. Okay. Trim that a wee bit, it's a wee bit long. Okay, let me tilt you over. Try and get you into layout. Yep, that one's on there, cool. Okay, and so that's what I've got there. So I've got my ground on the center one, which is pin 3, and then I've got my videos on the left and my audio's on the right. The way it plugs in that way in the back, so that the D, the way it goes around in that shape there, that's the video, that's the audio, and the center one is the ground. So we'll pull those through. Now I should pop the shields on, and these are just to give me a little bit of strain relief for when I put it in. So when I plug it in and pull it out, I'm not ripping the wires out. So now I've got that on there. What I really need to do is to use the multimeter and make sure I don't have any shorts. Move you out the way. Here to here, and so what we need to do, strip our wire, strip it so we can get to the wires on it. Because both of those are ground, they can go together. So we go from ground to that. No shorts. Ground to that. No shorts. That's cool. So we go between that and that. No shorts. Cool. That's all good. So we can test them from here. It just makes it a bit more fiddly trying to play around with the wires. But I can go from one of these, doesn't matter which one, to here. Yep, that's fine. And we'll get the brown one to go from there to there. That's fine. And we get the yellow. Yep, it's fine. And that one should be the audio. This side. Yep, and those are all fine. So those connections are all good. Alright, so that can be plugged in. That's it. Yeah, just that shield was a little bit out of alignment, so that's all done. From here, so that's ground to there, and that's going to be video to there. Okay, and so video was yellow. So I don't know if I've got... Okay, it's firing up. We're not getting exactly what I would expect in the video picture. So I am picking... There is something else on here that's not quite 100% happy. Okay guys, so this is what I'm getting, and I'm picking there's something going on in the machine. There's no audio, and that's the video. I did get a splash of green and orange to start with, and then yeah, when I do a reset, it doesn't really make things any better. So I think this is one where we're going to have to get the scope out and have a look on the scope, see what's going on. But it's nice to see that the board is working fine. So yeah, that's good. Just a couple of little things I need to do to it, and I think we'll be fine from there. So guys, sorry it's not fixed, but there will be a diagnosis into what's going on. It's good now we have a proper power supply for this, so we can actually see what is going on with this now. So now we have a good modern stable power supply. I can go through with the scope and then check the video signals and things like that and make sure all the video out and that's coming out of it fine. So guys, sorry, that's where we're up to on this, and it's not running 100%. Sorry about that. It was pretty much how it was when I had it running off the PC power supply, in that I had the same type of screen on the Amiga, so there's something else wrong with this. And I'm picking that it's something to do with that white stuff that's all through it, and maybe the chip that's in a socket and that. I need to have a look. And as I say, I don't know with whoever played around with this whether they've damaged anything, made it marginal. I'll have to have a talk to Jonathan, who I got it off, and just he did say he did have it going, but I don't know if he had it going through the RF or through the AB. I need to ask him and find out. Alright guys, that's us. That's this one for now. It's been going on a little bit too long. I don't think it's the connectors in here, because I did drop a video wire in here, and went straight to the plug, and it made no difference in the signal. So I'm just wondering if it's like these resistors and that which are around here, the variable resistors and these transistors and stuff. I don't know, they may be marginal, there could be issues in them, and I think maybe you need to go down that track and see what's going on there. Yeah, I think so. So guys, that's where we're up to. Now there is something going on with this machine, and I'm not sure where. I did talk to the chap I got it off, and he did send me pictures of when he had it going, and he did have a screen on it. So that sounds like something's gone flaky since then, because when I was using the PC power supply like he did, I had the same sort of garbage on the screen. I have got slightly better than what I did when I had the PC power supply on it, but not a lot. And it seems to come and go, so that to me says there's something else wrong on that board. But anyway, I'd have to break out the scope to do that, and we're getting really, really close to Christmas. And we've got a lot on over Christmas, so it may not get done this side of the new year, but something to carry on into next year. So guys, as I always say, have a great day, have a great week, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and be safe. And until next time, ciao.